Have you ever noticed how different things feel in Europe? Whether you're buying a new gadget, starting a job, or just enjoying a walk in the park, there's an underlying sense of protection. It's not just a feeling, it's a system. A system designed to shield the seemingly weak from the overwhelmingly powerful. But why? Why does Europe go to such great lengths to protect consumers, workers, and even nature itself? Let's unravel this fascinating social contract. The core idea is simple yet profound: correcting power imbalances. Think about it. When you, as an individual, face a massive multinational corporation, who holds all the cards? When a single worker negotiates with a company that employs thousands, who has the upper hand? When a force stands in the way of a billion-dollar development project, who is more vulnerable? European law looks at these scenarios and says, this isn't a fair fight, so it steps in to be the great equalizer. This isn't some new, trendy idea. It's a philosophy deeply woven into the fabric of European history and law. The continent has seen firsthand the consequences of unchecked power, from feudal lords to industrial-era factory owners. These historical lessons have culminated in a legal and ethical framework that prioritizes the dignity and well-being of the individual and the collective good over pure, unrestrained market forces, its ethics codified into law. Let's start with you, the consumer. Ever heard of GDPR? That's the General Data Protection Regulation. It's the reason you see all those cookie banners and have more control over your personal data online. Before GDPR, tech giants could harvest and use your data with very few restrictions. You, the individual, had little to no power. GDPR flipped the script. It forced companies to be transparent about what data they collect and why, and it gave you the right to say no, the right to be forgotten. This wasn't just about privacy, it was about shifting power from corporations back to the people whose data they were using. It goes way beyond data. Think about product safety. The CE mark you see on many products isn't just a sticker. It's a declaration that the product meets the EU's high safety, health, and environmental protection standards. Whether it's a child's toy, a kitchen appliance, or a piece of construction equipment, the burden is on the manufacturer to prove it's safe before it even hits the market. This contrasts sharply with the buyer beware approach, where the responsibility often falls on the consumer to identify a faulty or dangerous product, usually after something has already gone wrong. Europe's logic is preventative. Protect the consumer from harm in the first place because the manufacturer has far more resources and knowledge about their own product. And what happens if something does go wrong? European consumer law gives you powerful rights. Faulty product, you're entitled to a repair, replacement, or refund for at least 2 years. Flight canceled? The airline is legally obligated to offer you compensation, care, and rerouting. These aren't just store policies, they are legally mandated rights across the entire bloc. The system assumes that a consumer shouldn't have to wage a legal battle against a huge company to get what they paid for. The law provides a clear, accessible pathway to justice. Now, let's switch gears and talk about workers. The European approach to labor rights is another prime example of power rebalancing. The traditional dynamic between an employer and an employee is inherently unequal. The employer has the power to hire, fire, and set wages. The employee, especially in a tough job market, has far less leverage. European laws and customs are designed to level this playing field. Take working hours, for example. The Working Time Directive sets a limit on the maximum number of hours an employee can work per week, typically 48 hours. It also mandates minimum daily and weekly rest periods and guarantees at least 4 weeks of paid vacation per year for every single worker. This isn't a perk, it's a fundamental right. The philosophy here is that a person is more than just a unit of labor. They have a right to a life outside of work, a right to rest, and a right to not be exploited to the point of burnout. Job security is another cornerstone. In many European countries, firing an employee isn't as simple as just saying you're fired. Employers often need to provide a valid, legally recognized reason, like misconduct or genuine economic necessity. There are notice periods, severance pay requirements, and strong protections against unfair dismissal. This system forces companies to invest in their employees, to see them as long-term assets rather than disposable resources. It empowers workers, giving them a degree of stability that allows them to plan their lives, take out mortgages, and participate fully in society without the constant fear of arbitrary job loss. Furthermore, the right to form unions and engage in collective bargaining is fiercely protected. This is the ultimate power balancing tool. Instead of one worker trying to negotiate with a massive corporation, you have hundreds or thousands of workers speaking with a single, powerful voice. This collective strength allows them to negotiate for better wages, safer working conditions, and more comprehensive benefits than any single individual could hope to achieve on their own. It's a structural fix for a structural imbalance. Finally, and perhaps most uniquely, is Europe's protection of nature. For a long time, the environment was treated as an infinite, free resource to be exploited for economic gain. A forest was just timber, a river was just a convenient place to dump waste. The power imbalance was stark: short-term economic interests versus the long-term health of the planet and the well-being of future generations. Europe has been a global leader in shifting this perspective. Through ambitious initiatives like the European Green Deal and the Natura 2000 network, the environment is being given a voice and legal standing. Natura 2000 is a massive network of protected areas covering almost 20% of the EU's land area and significant marine territories. It's the largest coordinated network of protected areas in the world. The law dictates that any project that could negatively affect one of these sites must undergo a rigorous assessment. If significant harm is likely, the project can be blocked or must be modified. This gives nature a seat at the table. It forces developers, industries, and governments to consider the environmental cost of their actions, not just the economic benefit. It's a legal mechanism that says clean air, clean water, and biodiversity are not optional extras. They are essential public goods that must be protected. The polluter pays principle is another example. It codifies the common sense idea that those who cause environmental damage should bear the costs of managing and cleaning it up. This internalizes the cost of pollution, making it less profitable to harm the environment in the first place. So when you see a policy in Europe that seems overly bureaucratic or restrictive, try looking at it through this lens. Is it designed to protect a consumer from a corporation with 1,000 lawyers? Is it meant to give a worker a fair shot against a powerful employer? Is it an attempt to shield a fragile ecosystem from irreversible damage? More often than not, the answer is yes. This approach isn't perfect, of course. Critics argue it can stifle innovation, create red tape, and make markets less competitive. These are valid debates to have. But the fundamental principle remains: a society can be judged by how it protects its most vulnerable. In Europe, this isn't just a moral aspiration, it's a legal reality. It's a continent-wide project to correct imbalances of power, to build a fairer, more sustainable society for everyone. It's a belief that the economy should serve people, not the other way around. Thanks for watching. If you found this perspective interesting, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the systems that shape our world. See you next time.